Recording in progress.
Hi, this is Michael Cohen. I'm a Dallas elder law and estate planning attorney, and I'm joined by my cohort, my friend Don Crawford Jr., who, uh, who we have done a radio show for many years, and I appreciate him continuing to have these YouTube uh, podcasts and, with me. We just feel like there's a good camaraderie, and so we like the back and forth. So um, this is something new for us. So if there's some sort of things that you think that need to be corrected or improved in the future, let us know. But today's topic is going to be on traditional Medicare changes. We had the one big beautiful bill, and there's lots of different things that have occurred this year. And one of the changes that is coming to Texas on January 1st of 2026. So this is coming soon, as they say, is that in 6 states, there's kind of a pilot where traditional Medicare is going to be changed a little bit. AI, or different technology, is going to look at 17 what we call suspect groups of where there's Medicare coverage now, where they think there's a potential for, uh, fraud or abuse, that Medicare may pay too much. So what they're doing, this pilot program, to say, like, kind of like the Advantage program in some respects, that you usually have to get prior approval. Well, if you want to get paid, I suppose, if the doctors want to get paid, whether they make changes to get paid or not, that's a different story. But now, traditional Medicare, like the Advantage, may want prior authorization. So what happens is that there's going to be these companies in Texas that monitor this. They look at the 17 groups that have been that they've already identified, and which can be expanded in the future. And then they have a uh, licensed clinician to make the final decision prior to authorization. Now, that company or those companies will be paid on how much they save. So they're more likely to reject the Medicare coverage. So your traditional Medicare that you've had in the past, well, it may not cover as much, and it could be expanded in the future, depending on what happens. And of course, that means less Medicare coverage, which means less, if it's less Medicare coverage, you'll have less healthcare coverage. And so they're trying to reduce the deficit by paying out less. Uh, so, and of course, they get paid by how much they say no. So that means they're more likely to say no, no coverage. And then then the doctors will probably say, well, this is why it didn't fit under this way. I assume that that's what will happen, and we're going to see what happens in the next few years, again, and then they could expand it. I
Yeah,
have a
really,
list
that
of, yeah.
does, it's always comes down to follow the money. I hate that phrase. You don't like that phrase, and you're always trying to protect the consumer, which I love about you. And I've known you for 12, 13 years now, and that hasn't changed since I met you so long ago. And I'm just sad that this is the case now. But reader beware. When you look at that BBB, make sure you read it, because there's a lot in there, a lot of hidden secrets, the good and the bad and the ugly. And there's a lot of ugly there too. And Michael's exposing one now where the Medicare recipient or beneficiary is not as benefited as she or he used to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's some differences. Like, then you might say, what's the difference between that and the Advantage program? Well, you don't have to go through, um, with Advantage, you have to go to your primary physician before you go to it. You still get, and you're still going to have your inpatient, um, types of things that you had in the past. So those things are not being taken, but some of these outpatient things will be. And I have a list, by the way, I have a newsletter article at my website, dallaselderlawyer.com, and it'll have the 17 different categories. If I tried to pronounce them, I could barely say my name in English, much less some of these medical terms. So I'm afraid that I would butcher that. So I'll let it to you. If you're interested in seeing the 17 categories, then just look at my website, dallaselderlawyer.com, because we'll have a newsletter article on it.
Or just attend his workshop
Or
next week,
yes, yeah.
September the 13th, which is a Saturday at 10 o'clock in person, live, interactive, and ask questions then. And maybe Mike will be forced to tell you the total number, not just the number, but reveal all 17 or so.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'll have them memorized, but I certainly have the article and that I've written them down. And so, again, there are some names that are, not in my vocabulary. So, but in any event, we have them for you if you're interested in that. And again, it ranges from like nerve stimulation to epidurals for those that are older, to impotence. So it goes to a wide variety of different things. And knees, if you have like arthritic knees, things like that, arthroscopic surgery, then that is one of those suspect groups. So those are just a few of them, but there's obviously about 13 others. So that's what's going to be, you'll be looking for. Are you covered? So if you're going to have any of those things, you better have it before the end of the year. It reminds me of how silly I was a long, long time ago. I knew that the tax law was going to change. It used to be like on the medical expense deduction many, many years ago, there was a 2% threshold before you could take a medical expense deduction. And I was younger. And of course, nowadays it's 7.5% of adjusted gross income. And I saw that it was going up, and I had problems with my wisdom teeth. And so the doctor deals with those taking out wisdom teeth, said you have one tooth that's bad that needs to be taken out, one's iffy, and the other two were fine. I said, take them all out. They said, what do you mean take them all out? And I said, well, January 1st, the laws are going to change. So let's take that. He said, you're my only patient that's come to me for tax planning. Well, anyway, so I'm telling you, if you have that bad knee condition or whatever, you may want to take advantage of it before the end of the year. Well,
I would attend Michael's next workshop on the 13th of September and then go and get those appointments scheduled as Michael recommended. Do it.
Yeah.
Now.
So if you are interested in attending our next workshop, it's call either 214-720-0102 or sign up online at dallaselderlawyer.com. If you are hearing this after the September 13th, there'll be another workshop the next month. And we also do Medicaid workshops as well. Good. Also, if you like this, if you think this is valuable, please push that like button. We would appreciate it because we want to know what we could do in the future. Thank you, Don. I appreciate it.